everybody. Welcome into Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I'm John Longshore. He's Barry McKnight. He's got a big grin on his face, and we might as well get it over with.
Was there ever any doubt? Was there ever any doubt in the doubleheader? Of course, the first game, which was one of the most insane games in Major League Baseball this year, went the Mets' way. And of course,
you're going to have to tell me about it. I didn't see it.
In game two, the Triple Crown winner on the mound for the Braves could not go because of back spasms. Chris Sale. So they
Allegedly.
go to Grant Holmes, and Grant Holmes gets the win for the Braves in the final game of the regular season to extend their year. They're still going now, thanks to the late win yesterday afternoon. Braves and Padres. Today's going to be great. 4 games today, starting at 1:30. Tigers at the Astros, Royals at the Orioles, Mets at the Brewers, Braves at the Padres. Those are the wild card matchups. Boom. Ready to go.
Wild card. Gimmick. So in that second game, did the Braves play all their starters? Was it just like some AA players, or what was the lineup for the Braves? They had won the first game.
Yeah, the Mets won the first game,
Mets
and they shouldn't have. Braves should have won that one, but the bullpen let them down. So in the second game, what was the guy's name? All of a sudden for the Mets, he was this goofy-looking left-hander that, big, goofy motion, had a hard time throwing strikes. Yeah. And he battled, and the Braves just could. Yeah, Lucchesi. So, 3-0 win in the second game. Do you remember that commercial that they had one time for Yellowwood whenever they would have all the assistant coaches or all the coaches that would be on there and Archie Manning? And they were taking, hey, how about, he was trying to come up with great catchphrases for Osmos. And he said, yellow fever, catch it. And Archie Manning said, it's a disease, Jimmy. That was my favorite one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So the agony continues for most Americans that have to endure more baseball. So did the Mets play their starters, or was it their AA players?
Well, Lucchesi, he wasn't top of the line, I'll admit that, but they only got 3 hits in the game. And
I just wonder, does that cheapen the sport? Does it cheapen, the game yesterday? Kind of like when teams when a defense will let the offense score so they can get the ball back in football. I don't know. I've just got a bad taste in my mouth about. I'm not going to say they tanked.
No, but they are looking to the big picture. They've got to play today. The Mets had to play a doubleheader yesterday. They win the one they needed to in the first game. So what do? Do you play everybody and grit your teeth and give it maximum effort with your stars? Or do you give them a little bit of a rest because right after the doubleheader yesterday, 2 games yesterday, they had to fly to Milwaukee where they play the Brewers tonight.
Oh, boy, yeah. Well, let's see. How many on a baseball roster? Like 25?
There's I think 28.
28. So there's 9 on the field at one time. So, there you go. You got 19 of them sitting on the bench. And then when, of course, they're on offense, everybody's sitting on the bench. And they're spitting sunflower seeds, and they're cracking jokes and blah, blah, blah. And you're telling me, they had to get on a plane and go to Milwaukee last night.
And play today. Play this afternoon. I mean, they got to play in 24 hours in a keeper. Yeah, Bill from Baltimore, I get you. He said, figured John would be into more playoffs. He sure has been in the past about certain things, more playoffs. And to your point,
saw that, Bill.
You wait until, let's say, there's going to be a year where, say, Alabama and Georgia play for the SEC championship. They're both undefeated in the league, maybe. They know they're in the 12 team, or by that time, John would have pounded the gavel enough for there to be a 16-team playoff. They know they're in. Yeah, winning an SEC championship, okay. But are they going to give it maximum effort, or are they going to wait until next week or 10 days or 12 days?
So you're saying the conference championship games are a de facto wild card round?
I'm just saying, when you know you're in.
Yeah. Well, it's all about seeding.
Knock yourself out.
That's been my big argument all along when people say that the playoff weakens the regular season. I don't think Saturday night was very weak.
No.
There again, you're looking for seeding. You're trying to get a bye. You're trying to get a home game. You're just trying to get the best possible seeding. So I don't think the more times you play, and it could happen this year. I mean, Georgia and Alabama could play 3 times in one season. I mean, that's remarkable. Now, that's a little much in a 3 or 4 month period, but hey, I'm not complaining. I'll take it.
In a manner of speaking, only the last one would have that do or die aspect that John has always said he loves about the playoffs. I thought last Saturday night was great. It wasn't the be all end all because they're both still in it. Yeah, we lost, but man, we'll get you next time. In the olden days, there was no next time.
There was no next time. And if you had a scenario where you did play 3 times in a year, I mean, we've talked about it before. Could you imagine 3 Iron Bowls in one season? It could happen. The problem with that is you play the regular season game and the conference championship game a week apart, and you possibly could play again in a 2 or 3 week period after that. That's a lot of games with the same teams in a short period of time. But if it happened like that, and let's say, for instance, Alabama and Georgia, say they face in the championship game in Atlanta, Alabama wins, they're two up on them, and then they play for the national championship and Georgia wins. You think Georgia's going to care about those 2 losses? Is that going to be talked about in the Alabama record books? We beat Georgia twice in 1 year, but they beat us in the national championship.
You're going to have to put Bob from Pike Road on. You're going to have to take away his shoelaces and his belt and his tie, his clip-on tie, because let's just say Georgia wins last Saturday. I'm sorry, Alabama wins last Saturday by 28. They were up 28 at one point. Alabama wins by 28 last Saturday. They play in the SEC championship game. Georgia wins at 35-3. Alabama wins at 35-3. Alabama wins the 2 games. One in the regular season, big. One in the SEC championship game, big. Georgia kicks a late field goal in the national championship game and wins the title. I'm telling you what, Bob from Pike Road, I'm feeling for you, man.
What do they say? It's hard to beat a team twice in a year, much less 3 times.
3 times.
That could be some interesting scenarios, real interesting, how that plays out. But we got a lot of football left, a lot of big games. Georgia particularly having to go to Austin to take on Texas, got to go play Ole Miss. Are they a fraud? People are saying they are. They got exposed against Kentucky on Saturday. We'll see how the rest of their season plays out. Alabama's got to go to Knoxville. They got to go to Baton Rouge. They got a little game at the end of the year. I think they got to play around Thanksgiving. Who knows what happens there? But a lot of football left.
And there's unfortunately for the Miami Dolphins, a lot of football left in the NFL season.
Is that the worst matchup ever on a Monday night? I mean, the Titans are over. I guess the Dolphins are still. Are they over? They even won a game.
No. They beat the Jaguars in Week 1 with Tua.
Ouch.
The takeaways: Dolphins without Tua are really bad.
I had to Google.
They stink. Not good.
Who the quarterback was for the Dolphins? I never heard of that guy.
Well, it was Hundley, Jason Hundley, Jared Hundley.
Never heard of him.
Chet Brinkley, David Hundley. I don't know.
I had to Google the guy.
No kidding. He was signed from the practice squad this week because, of course, Tua's out.
Yeah.
Their backup quarterback, Skylar Thompson, got hurt last week. So they're scouring them. I wouldn't have been surprised if A.J. McCarron got signed or something. Heck, I wouldn't have been surprised if Stedman Shealy got signed. But they were
AJ
bad.
was on the sidelines in Tuscaloosa on Saturday night. He couldn't have played.
The Titans beat the Dolphins badly, 31-12. Now there's only one winless team in the NFL, and it's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Maybe Mac Jones needs a look. I don't know. We'll ask Travis about that later today.
Jared Goff was 18 for 18 for the Lions, had a touchdown catch, and the Lions beat the Seahawks 42-29.
I got to tell you, I thought the Lions uniforms looked pretty good last night.
Oh, they were horrible.
It was different, little tweak, but I really like those helmets in particular. So, of course, Barry, first thing I thought of was, it'd be pretty nice if some college teams would maybe not to that extent. I'll give you that. It was a little much, but just, a little tweak, a little change, a little alteration there. Wouldn't hurt.
That used to be one of the great uniform matchups of all time. The old Lions with the kind of powder blue and the silver helmets and the Barry Sanders and the Scott Mitchells and all those guys. And the Seahawks with the Jim Zorns with the silver and the Seahawks on the side and the,
I'm not sure
royal blue. And they
Barry, I'm not sure some
up.
of our younger viewers even know the Seahawks had that uniform. Compared to the uniform they've got today and some of the colors they use in that uniform, the Seahawk uniform back in the Jim Zorn era was kind of bland.
The Steve Largent era. Yeah.
Steve Largent, playing in the Kingdome. It was kind of dull. And they zipped it up a little bit, but I remember that old Seahawk uniform.
Yeah.
It's been a while, but Detroit looks good. They look good in those uniforms. The Dolphins are terrible. The Titans aren't much better. Not a lot of people at that game. And I was wondering, Chris Fowler doing NFL football now?
Probably didn't get enough from Tuscaloosa, so he got an extra helping of it. Also, one more baseball note. Major League Baseball's hit king, dead at the age of 83, Pete Rose has passed away. How do you remember Pete Rose? More hits than anybody else in Major League history, all the World Series. John remembers him. Anybody who understands how John's mind works probably knows what I'm going to on this one. John's big memory of Pete Rose was crashing into Ray Fosse in the All-Star game.
Oh, yeah.
Separating Ray Fosse's shoulders and pretty much ending him as an effective player, which lost value to John's Ray Fosse Cup that he finally got from the 7-Eleven when he was a kid.
Yeah.
That he had been searching for months. The number of sugar molecules that John consumed to try to get that Ray Fosse, he kept getting the Kent Tekulves and Dave Parkers, and
more grape icy mustaches trying to find that Ray Fosse cup. But I find
the headaches that John.
Oh yeah, brain freeze. Oh boy, and the 7-Eleven was right over here. I could walk to the 7-Eleven to get those cups. Hey, how about a happy birthday shout out, Robbie from Greenville? His birthday's today. Way to go, Robbie! Glad to hear that. Robbie didn't tell us that. Somebody else told us it was Robbie's birthday.
Jason,
we appreciate that.
Happy birthday, awesome. Robbie from Greenville. Robbie could be 35. Could be 55.
Just a number. Who knows?
Robbie, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And here they come, Barry. I knew it. Jeff from Billingsley, Robbie from Greenville, John from Wetumpka. Hadn't heard one peep out of them about the Braves. Now they're bombarding me about the Braves making the playoffs. Hit the brakes, boys. Tap the brakes. Words of the wolf. You look. You know what the Braves' history is in the playoffs. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
It ain't good.
Later on, we'll talk with Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Our guy, Travis Reier from Talkin' Tide. When we come back, going to bring up a subject, going to bring up a topic for John where the truth doesn't matter. Truth doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it when we come back. He's John Longshore. I'm Barry McKnight. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if for some unknown reason you haven't done so yet. Also hit the like button. Tell your friends. It's a growing enterprise. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Is there a certain Ford car, truck, or SUV that piques your interest, but you are not quite sure if it fits into your budget? Or perhaps you want to upgrade your current vehicle, but you absolutely refuse to deal with the same old aggressive and pushy song and dance that is found at the average car dealership? Then Stivers Ford is here to show you a better way. Their knowledgeable and courteous sales staff, the largest Ford inventory in Alabama, and of course, price. At Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Price sells cars. 4000 Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway, or check out their inventory at stiversfordofmontgomery.com.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop, so if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Back at it here on Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. It is about 17 minutes past the hour. Okay, hit me up. Question of the day.
This is a subject where the truth really isn't the story. The truth doesn't matter. Okay. Now, John, don't click off your camera or something, but I want a quick snippet about UAB football.
Well, I know they played Navy last week.
And they got beat by 23.
Yeah.
Navy 41, UAB 18. It hasn't been a great start for the Blazers. It's true. That was in Birmingham. Yep. Blazers are now 1-3 on the year. And they took it on the chin pretty bad by Navy. I'm looking because usually John asks this. There was an announced attendance of 21,536.
No way. There's no way. What time was the kickoff?
Not see. 6 o'clock Saturday night.
No way. No, Bama kicked 40 minutes later. There's no way 21,000 people were in Progressive Stadium to watch the UABs, and unless they were Navy vet, people, military personnel. But I'm going to say military personnel might have showed up. Barry, I've said it before. Nobody outside of a 6-block radius of downtown Birmingham cares about UAB athletics. Well, nobody.
I should have
trademarked that statement years ago when I said it.
Hold that point. They tried to inject some, they had a pretty good run under Bill Clark. You and I are both huge Bill Clark fans. You and I are both fans of the UAB Medical Center and all that wonderful stuff.
No doubt. Yep.
But they tried to inject some life with the hiring of Trent Dilfer, former NFL quarterback, still to this date, the worst NFL quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Agreed.
And it's not gone really, really well. Okay. Back to the 21,000 at UAB. John has said that for years. What he just said, he's said before. That's fine. But when Trent Dilfer himself says this after the game, at the little post-game press conference that they have, there were, I think, in the post-game press conference, there were 2 reporters there. I think one of them was like the house reporter for UAB Athletics, and the other one was from AL.com.
I think he's the editor of the Green and Gold Banner, the school newspaper.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, there were two people in the post-game press conference. He shows up. His team got the brakes beat off of him. he looks out there. His grandson was sitting at the interview table with him. Okay. I've got a grandson. I've got a granddaughter. Love him with all my heart. Okay. His grandson's there. And a reporter was asking, this is from AOL.com. A reporter began to ask Dilfer a question post-game, and there was noise in the background. Dilfer looked off camera, presumably to a family member, and said, he can come up. There's two of them, meaning reporters.
Yeah.
He says, he can come up. There's two of them. It's not like this is freaking Alabama. Let's go. End quote. Now, there are people, not many, like John said, there are people who have supported UAB football from the get-go, even when they got shut down.
I'd like to meet them.
There's not many, take a small room, but you could do it. I'm just saying there are.
All right.
There are people who, I guess contribute to UAB football and whatever.
Yes.
Know what the perception is that there was a University of Alabama system trustee who did not want UAB to get a good coach or the coach they wanted.
Yeah.
So again, the truth doesn't matter. The truth is not the story here, because Trent Dilfer's absolutely right. Okay. We realize that, but to admit that on camera,
I'm not a big,
hey, look,
I'm not a big Dilfer fan. I think he's there again. I think he's the worst winning quarterback in the Super Bowl for what that's worth, but whatever. And he was honest. I'll give him credit for that. But, they kicked and screamed when Paul Jr. did not want them to hire Jimbo Fisher. And they kicked and screamed when he said, well, they can't run a football program while we dumping all this money into it. You need to just close it up.
Right.
There again, I know there's some media members in Birmingham that try to pump up UAB and really try to, give them as much coverage as they can. But let's face it, we've been in this business a long time. I can count on this hand how many UAB comments, questions, whatever have come into this program that we've done, whatever fashion it was, for almost 30 years. There again, if you don't live in downtown Birmingham, who cares about UAB football? They can't draw flies. And yet it didn't help that they were kicking off at the exact time or in the same hour as what people dubbed as the biggest college football game of the season. You're going to have a hard time competing against that. I don't know what UAB thinks they are. I don't know what they think they're going to be. There again, Bill Clark's had some great runs.
Love him.
But, it is what it is.
But now you got the coach admitting it. Now you got the coach saying, look, who do you think
gets it?
Big deal. Me personally, if I was a coach, and I love my grandkids with more than all my heart. I mean, they are the absolute apple of my eye. But I don't know that I would put my grandkids on the interview table with me either.
Like a baseball manager, maybe a football coach, but it's usually after a big win.
Yeah, I've seen Steph Curry with his daughter and stuff like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, but all these UAB people, both of them, they're trying to gain a foothold in Birmingham and trying to hold the banner and everything like that. They're not very good. They're 1-3, and here's their head coach saying, big deal. This is not Alabama. Bring the grandkids up here. He seems like a short timer to me. There's a lot of people
so too. I think it was a gimmick. I think it was a gimmick to try to bring a guy in with a big name. The guy was a high school football coach, and he played in the NFL, and he was in a Super Bowl. You kind of wonder, is he really into it? I mean, is this really what he wants to do? Coach college football in Birmingham, who is maybe the 4th or 5th on the pecking order. Now, UAB people, no, we're right up there. I mean, give me a break. They built them that big old stadium down there. The only time it's been filled is when Garth Brooks played in it. I mean, UAB hadn't come close to filling that place up.
Yeah. Right.
It's ridiculous. So, they're getting, what they deserve, in my opinion. Don't act like you're bigger than you really are. So, as I mentioned, here they come, Jeff from Billingsley, John from Wetumpka, Robbie from Greenville. They're all back on this Braves bandwagon, blah, blah, blah. Braves have won 8 of the last 12. This, that, and the other. This, that, and the other.
Look,
I mean, come on.
And I'm not casting any aspersions on anybody. I'm just saying, from my perspective, and I'm fully prepared for everybody to get on my case about this. But okay, you're playing 161 games.
Yep.
You're a left-hander that the Braves signed kind of off the reclamation room in Chris Sale. You are the National League Triple Crown winner. You lead the National League in wins. You lead the National League in strikeouts. You lead the National League in earned run average. You got one game. If you win it, you move on to the playoffs. If you lose it, you're done. Sale is supposed to go in game 2. They've got to win game 2. They lost game 1. Back spasms. I want everybody on the chat line to let me know because, I've had a sore back once in a while and everything. But those must have been some life-threatening back spasms. If this was the 1930s or the 1940s.
Yeah. They'd be in there smoking a couple of heaters, probably drinking a few beers, and then going out there and pitching.
Yeah. Doesn't anybody have any lidocaine? Or, does nobody believe in Percocet? Something? I don't know.
Baseball injuries. So once again, because I don't want to say I wasn't listening. Maybe I wasn't. I don't know. To me, it was like Charlie Brown's teacher when you started talking about baseball. Who do the Braves play today?
The Braves play at San Diego.
Whoa, they had to get on a plane, fly all the way to the West Coast last night. Oh,
but evidently it ain't a big deal for the Mets to have to fly to Milwaukee last night. Okay.
Lot shorter trip for the Mets.
They play at 7:30 tonight in
San
Diego.
Best 2 out of 3?
Best 2 out of 3 in the first round. Best 2 out of 3. Atlanta is to be determined. Hopefully they got Chris Sale. I don't know. Let him lie down in the aisle, and put some.
Does the starting pitcher in a situation like this? Does the starting pitcher get to fly first class, or is he in the back by the lavatory in the seats with 3 rows, the rows with 3 seats on them?
Well, see, if it's one of those 200 seaters, here's what I do. I just put the team on one and put like the assistant equipment manager or the radio crew. I was about to tell you who the radio crew was, but John had not heard of them. So yeah.
I know it's Pete Van Wieren. It's Joe Simpson, Skip Carey.
Well, Joe Simpson, you got right. That one's a good one. Yes.
There were 4 of them. Who am I missing? Back in the day.
You had Pete, you had Ernie, had Skip.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm loving the chats coming in today. Keep them coming. Part of our River Region Straw chat line. Just get in on the conversation. I love how a lot of our viewers and listeners are chatting amongst themselves. That's great. You can also email us longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. That's longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. I know if you're in that Dreamland Pick 3, you're very familiar with that email address and be getting ready for that. Again, this weekend, we'll do it again right here on Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have already been letting me know from down here. And again, John, for those unfamiliar, John's in Montgomery. I'm in Troy at my home office studio. And I'm telling you, I've had a lot of people yesterday texting me, dude, what is up with the dwarf? Man, he's walking around with the big sunglasses and the Panama hat, and he's drinking mint juleps at lunch and all this kind of stuff. Well, the dwarf won the Dreamland Pick 3. He's signing autographs. He's having personal appearances and stuff. That's what the Dreamland Pick. It's not just about the $50 worth of extraordinary Dreamland barbecue. It's the aura.
Oh, it is. It is. It's like winning any of our contests. You're just people know who you are. Yeah. The coffee tastes a little better. You're getting those perks. Maybe there again, upgrade to first class. We've actually seen that happen with one of our winners in our bowl prediction contest.
Somebody at Troy just was saying, was that the Dwarf or was that Huggy Bear? Look how he's dressed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big, I'm telling you, the Dwarf lost in a draw-off earlier this year. So he swept the board twice, got beaten a draw-off, got lucky yesterday when we drew him out of the cup. Oh. And he is the big winner. You could be this week as well. What do you say we take a quick break? When we return, Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. We'll check in with Brian to see what's going on over on the Plains as they get ready to, the South's oldest continuous football
rivalry. Oldest continuous rivalry in the Deep South.
Yeah.
Auburn and Georgia. We'll check in with Brian when we continue. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the trail, Cambion Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speed associated with our installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Both locations offer fully stocked pro shops with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com.
All righty, welcome back in, everybody. It is about 27 minutes to the top of the hour. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And joining us now on our City of Montgomery guest hotline, our man Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me in. Excited about the another classic upcoming game in the Deep South's oldest rivalry.
I've
already lost a bet. I thought for sure Brian be wearing his Braves hat this morning. Didn't happen.
That was a nice finish, though. I like that.
Yes, it was a good finish for sure. Not a good finish for Auburn. They had everything set up for them perfectly. I thought the crowd was great. Some of the young freshmen played really, really well for Auburn. Peyton Thorne threw for 330. And then right at the very end, they found a way to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. Give us your overarching thoughts on that one.
Well, you pretty much nailed it. Auburn blew that one. They really did. I thought the game management was poor, especially in the fourth quarter, obviously. But you got to look at the first drive where Auburn gave up the ball at the 1 yard line without any points. End of the half was a bit of a mess there. They did get a couple of field goal attempts off, but it was rushed, and I think that could have been handled better, especially not wasting those 2 timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go in the second half, and you go up 21-10. You get a fourth down stop by your defense. You're well into the fourth quarter, and then you go out in the next drive and only eat up 1:31 on the clock after a 22-yard run, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So. That was the first big mistake there in the fourth quarter, I thought, and then of course the defense gave up a big explosive play that led to a touchdown, and then the next drive, you're moving the ball decently again, and then that pick six was a killer. That pretty much ended it.
11-point lead with about 10 minutes left in the game. And Auburn certainly seems to be controlling things, playing well. Oklahoma having difficulty offensively. And I saw and heard a lot of reaction after the game on Sunday, again yesterday. I know people don't like pointing fingers, Brian, but it looks like everybody's pointing fingers at the head coach and the coaching staff for letting plays be run, decisions be made in a time when you're right. It looked like Auburn just, you don't make mistakes, you're going to end up winning the game.
That's right. And I think, Hugh Freeze is a guy who tends to want to explain things and not just say it was my fault, right? But I think finally Monday he came out and said some things that took more responsibility for what happened in the game. So I think that was appreciated by a lot of Auburn folks that are paying attention right now, because that was clearly a game that Auburn should have won. Every other stat, Auburn was well in front of: total yards, first downs, all the stats that usually matter in winning and losing, other than, the last 10 or so minutes of that game and the big turnover and the explosive play. It just really wiped out a really great performance by Auburn. If you were in the post-game media room like I was, you could see the devastation on the players' face. They obviously care about this team. They're invested. So I think that's a good sign, right? They played very hard up until the end of that game. So I wouldn't write the season off just yet, but this is a really disappointing loss for Auburn.
Well, I'm looking at, and I want to ask you about that interception at the end. It seems like it's many layered to me. Number one, you got number 27 standing behind you in the backfield, who's been running it really well, and you can take some time off. Freeze calls, I guess, an RPO there, which, I mean, you run the football. There should be no PO. There should be no pass option there. Right. So there's that problem. But even if that is the call, even if it's an RPO and you put the responsibility on Peyton Thorne's shoulders, what was that throw? What was the decision there? So there's three layers of blame, I think, to that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they went 5 wide on that play, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if there was a running back behind him or not.
Okay, all right.
But, I mean, the thing with me is I think the quarterbacks on this team have showed you who they are by now, right? Sure, players can get better over time, but when you're talking about a 5th, 6-year senior in Peyton, you know who he is, and he's he can make mistakes like that. He's not always making the perfect decision or the perfect pass. So why put him in that position at that point in the game? So yeah, it's just hard to understand the whole thing. Why are you set up to pass there? Why does Peyton have that opportunity to change the play or pick whether it's run or pass? And why aren't you in the headset where you can talk to him 15 seconds before snap, telling him just to run the ball? Run a quarterback draw out of 5 wide. That might take them by surprise, and you might get a first down or more. So there are a lot of options on that play and that drive, and Auburn took the worst one.
Brian Matthews, AuburnSports.com, joining us here in our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Brian, you kind of touched on it, and if you could expand, because I've had a lot of people ask me, I've thought about it as well. The 5-game home stand did not go as the fans expected. I don't think the players did either. But you're saying after the loss to Oklahoma, the morale's still good. His team's still wanting to fight. That's good news.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of teams would have folded the tents up and saying, man, we got to go to Athens this week. The month of October is going to be killer.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that there's still some fight there even after this difficult start.
Yeah, and I think most teams have a breaking point, right? I just don't think Auburn's got there yet. I think they were crushed by that loss, but I still sense that this team has got a lot of fight in it. I feel like they had a really good offseason. They came in with a lot of goals and aspirations and really a lot of confidence, I thought. And for whatever reason, it's turned a little bit sour right now, but there are still 7 games left in this regular season. You don't know what's going to happen. College football is a very unpredictable game. There's young folks playing these games, and things can turn in a matter of minutes or a matter of a game. So I wasn't completely throwing the towel. I know this is the most difficult, or the second most difficult game on Auburn's schedule this week, and Auburn hasn't won at Georgia since 2005. And if you remember that game, that was the game where it was 4th and I think 11 or 4th and something. And Auburn threw the long pass, and I think it was Roma Shadu that fumbled, and Courtney Taylor recovered in the end zone. If my memory is correct, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they end up winning there by a point, I believe. And that's the last time. Most of the trips Auburn's had since have been blowout losses. So, and this may be that. We'll see. But I still sense that this team has fight in it, and there is an opportunity for them to maybe get some good wins at some point in the season.
Yeah. Brian, you mentioned there's young people playing this game. That's for sure. I saw a lot of young players out there making plays for Auburn on defense. Malik Blockton's from here in the area. He's been playing a lot. Jay Crawford, I thought, played really well. The linebacker, Demarcus Reddick.
Yep.
Ooh.
And
hopefully
Caleb
those
Harris,
guys.
the safety was terrific too. And I'm actually writing about that. I'm going to put up a story this morning, but Jay Crawford played more snaps than anybody else on defense, a true freshman. Wasn't targeted once in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Demarcus Riddick, Auburn has struggled with the athletic quarterbacks. He came in and started making plays and making tackles and stops and sacks against a really talented quarterback, the Hamilton kid that Oklahoma had. And I thought he played terrific. Caleb Harris, the freshman safety from Thompson. I think he was Auburn's highest rated player by PFF. Really had some big tackles, big stops. He's really good in space. I think he's going to be a starter for Auburn here really soon. And then Malik Blockton, who you mentioned, started his first career game for Auburn. So that's 4 freshmen on defense. A couple of freshmen, especially Cam Coleman and Malcolm Simmons, played really well for offense. So you can see that 24 class really starting to come on. And you'll see more of that, I think, as the season goes on, as they find more guys who are ready to step up and take on more responsibility.
Brian, the fans aren't very happy. I've heard and read, and they've certainly had their comments. I get it. And I've heard people that cover Auburn use the same word, and you can say it. People might not want to hear it, but patience. I mentioned this when Hugh Freeze got hired. It wasn't going to be easy. I mean, it wasn't a lot left. The recruiting is going very well, no doubt. And I'm scratching my head on some of these decisions that have been made in these first 5 games. And, people have even gone as far back to what happened last year in the bowl game and against New Mexico State. I think really they're just wanting something really positive, something, wow, look, we went out there and won a big game. It seems to have been so long. And I guess what Hugh Freeze's biggest win was against Arkansas and Fayetteville last year by 38.
Yeah.
They just want something like that.
Yeah. And probably the biggest win Auburn's had in the past 4 years was over Texas A&M when Carnell, took over the team from Harsin there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough for Auburn fans because they show up, they support the team. Jordan-Hare Stadium is packed every game. It's loud. It's a good atmosphere. They show up for Tiger Walk, and they're just not getting rewarded. This is, 3 consecutive losing seasons, and it could be a 4th if they don't really turn things around here, and that's really frustrating. It's really tough, but the recruiting that Hugh Freeze is doing is something that hasn't happened in Auburn since Pat Dye, and that was before we really ranked recruiting in the way it is now. So there is that potential for Hugh Freeze to build Auburn into a perennial national title championship contender if he can continue to do that. He's going to need to show progress on the field. It's recruiting is the biggest part of it, in my opinion, right? But if you can't manage a game, or if you can't start winning more games, if you can't win close games, you're not going to be here for long, regardless of how great recruiting you is. So there's a lot that needs to happen, but the most important thing that's Auburn needed over the last 2 decades is better recruiting.
Yeah.
And that is happening in a big way right now. Can he hold on to this class? October is going to be tough because you have no home games.
Mm-hmm.
So all those commitments are going to be visiting other schools. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Right.
And of course, those coaches are going to be talking to them about what's happening at Auburn right now, right? They're going to be using that against them because they're not being successful.
But Brian,
really?
Yeah. And Brian, what I think really is important, and I'm sure this staff's looked at it, it's going to be tough to win in Athens. I think we all know that. I mean, 24-point underdog, it can happen, but it's going to be tough.
Yep.
But I think the games at Kentucky and at Missouri, Auburn's got to win at least one of those two.
I agree 100%. They got to go somewhere and pick up a win that people aren't expecting them to when they're underdogs. They've got to show they can do that. You look at the numbers, right? They're putting up the numbers on both sides of the ball to win games, and as far as yards and such, they just cannot get over the hump. So you wonder if maybe this team can get over the hump that one time. They'll have that confidence and they'll have that ability to maybe win some more, maybe go on a little run here and surprise some people. So I think that's still a possibility for this team, but they got to get there.
A couple of things real quick on just going down the checklist here. For those who haven't read it yet, Brian always at auburnsports.com has his BMAT's Monday musings, and people have asked about this, about the musical interlude as well. By the way, in the Monday musings, Brian compares this year's team, loosely compares this year's team with the 2008 team and the 2012 team, which was a long year, Brian.
Yeah, but my point was I don't think this team is near as bad or is better than those teams. I just don't see it. I saw that 2012 team kind of fall apart and really some players just quitting on the team, to be honest with you.
Oh.
And then 2008, that was Tuberville's last year. The offense just became a mess, and Tony Franklin just did not gel with the rest of the staff.
Right.
He needed to bring in Tony and a couple of his assistants for that to work properly.
Also, at auburnsports.com, we have this one on our chat line, if you'll allow us, Brian, from Ty. He says, I always enjoy Brian Matthews on the brain drain, keeps it real, and no sunshine pumping. Yeah, the brain drain. That's good stuff. Really is. JG has a lot to do with that as well. That's always been fun.
I couldn't do that. He goes like 6-7 hours drinking the brown liquor as he does and talking Auburn sports and taking calls. So, and yeah, I do get on there after the game, and sometimes I can, it's late at night. Sometimes, I might say a few things. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's all there. It's all good. Hey, I got to ask you this, Brian. Your musical journey, Exile, with their big hit, "Kiss You All Over." I remember that. I was in junior high school when that was going on.
Too. I'm thinking when I'm a little kid, I'm thinking, I want to kiss you all over.
And over and over
again.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So were they were a country act, but did that kind of catapult them into kind of pop and mainstream with that song?
It was actually the other way around. They were a pop act for a long time. They finally got that hit, and then for a few years after that, they couldn't get another hit, and that's when they transitioned to country. And then they had this run from '83 to '87 where they had 10 country #1 songs. So it was really a great move for them.
No kidding.
But that was their only top 40 hit, I think, on the Billboard 100.
Hey, tell us about Uncle Keith's red sauce.
It's delicious. It's homegrown right here in the state of Alabama. Available at Publix, Piggly Wiggly, Renfro's. You can order online. Use discount code BMAT15 for 15% off. Absolutely love it. So fresh, so good. And if you're Auburn fan and you need to eat a couple of chips, maybe a couple of bags of chips to get you through a game, the perfect companion is that Uncle Keith's red sauce.
Yeah, Brian mentions there in BMAT's Monday musings, he was a customer even before they became a sponsor. So he's got a history with it.
Brian, this is nothing against Uncle Keith's red sauce, but the way the season's been going, they might need something a little stronger than that.
Well, get the hot.
Brian, as always, auburnsports.com, part of the Rivals Network. We're gonna talk with you next week, and hopefully we've got some positives to talk about. Okay,
we'll see. Y'all take care.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much, Brian Matthews, on our City of Montgomery guest hotline, joining us here today from auburnsports.com. And I always look forward to him being a part of what we do. Hey, Travis Reier, Talking Tide. He'll join us at the top of the hour in about 11 minutes. But good stuff there. And I mentioned it yesterday, Barry. And to me, it's the make or break. Because I don't think many Auburn fans are expecting, hey, we're going to go into Athens and win. Could happen. No doubt.
Might be a little letdown.
Could
Georgia might be.
Or is Georgia maybe not as good as we thought? You struggled at Kentucky. We're behind big early in Tuscaloosa, but they scrapped back to take the lead, as we all know, but came up short. We'll see. But I really believe that if after Auburn goes to an off week, after this game, they got an off week, they got to get it together before they go back-to-back road games, Missouri and Kentucky. To me, they have got to win one of those two games. At least one. Win both of them, great. Man, then you got a new energy. You got a new momentum. Fans are back into it. Vanderbilt's coming to town first week in November. Everything's great. But if they lose both of those, Barry, they're done. Get the drain cleaner out. You'll have to clean the drain after that.
Still though, if they win one of those two, that's 3 wins. They win against Vanderbilt, that's 4. Already a lot of our chatters have said the only winnable game Auburn has left is the Louisiana Monroe game in mid-November. That's 5. That ain't going to get them there, John. That ain't going to get them there.
Doesn't the Birmingham Bowl have some exemption?
No.
Maybe no. Hey, how about this, Barry? How about this?
Okay.
Well, no, I don't think it's going to happen this year. I was going to say maybe Auburn and Troy could play postseason, but I'm not sure Troy's going to have enough wins to get there either.
Oh, hey, I'd be all about it.
Just saying.
Doesn't
Troy have a game Thursday night?
Thursday night against Texas State on ESPNU. Yeah, I've been scrambling this week because it is a short week for your boy here.
Let me check the let's take a quick break, and I'm going to check the number. I forgot that was an early game. I'm kind of curious what some numbers are this week.
6 o'clock
check
on Thursday night at the Vet. Yep, we'll do that and come back with more. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Electric Plumbing and Air is excited to participate in our annual Catch Me in Pink campaign, raising money for cutting-edge breast cancer research. Last year, we partnered locally with the Joy to Life Foundation and Vera Bradley with several other companies nationally to raise over $28,000. Each week, we are giving away prizes locally in addition to our national grand prize, a tropical trip for 2. To enter, simply snap an USSI of you and a pink-clad Dixie employee and enter it on our website. Dixie will donate money for every photo that's submitted, and you will be entered to win big. Dixie.
All guests of Longshore McKnight appear on the City of Montgomery guest hotline. Check out the most interesting and informed personalities in sports covering Auburn, Alabama, Troy, ASU, and all the major teams from across the country. John and Barry have the best guests brought to you by the City of Montgomery. To find out everything you need to know that is going on in the capital city, check out montgomeryal.gov. That's montgomeryal.gov, the capital of dreams.
Alrighty, back at it here. A couple of minutes to the top of the hour. Travis Reier will join us. Reier on YouTube, Talking Tide. Looking forward to talking with Travis as always. Ooh, wow. I did go to Vegas Insider during the break. Barry Troy, a 14-point dog at home against Texas State. Now, this is a team that I heard all summer long. This one and then the game against South Alabama kind of circled. Those are the two games that really could really change Troy's season.
Well, they're both midweek games. Troy plays day after tomorrow at home midweek against Texas State. Obviously, this weekend off, then next weekend off, and then the following Tuesday, actually 2 weeks from today, they go to South Alabama. So both of those games nationally televised. Troy has some injury concerns I can tell you about. I can't tell you about, not fully because we still don't know about a lot of them. So, you just got to circle the wagons and get it going. 6 o'clock Thursday night on ESPNU. And I hope everybody gets a chance to at least watch it. Come on out if you get the chance to.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good. That is a Thursday game, as you mentioned, ESPNU. Obviously, a couple of others I've mentioned. Georgia, big favorite against Auburn. A lot of points there. A lot of points. I'm not my gut tells me Auburn's not going to lose by more than 24.5. Some just tell as Brian just mentioned, they played pretty good.
They did.
Turnovers. They lead the nation in turnovers.
Yes. The entire country. Nobody has more turnovers than Auburn. They actually played well last week, but again, it was a turnover for Auburn at the end, obviously, that proved to be the difference in the game. I thought this would be a huge game. You talk about a circle game. Tallahassee on Saturday night.
Yep.
Clemson and Florida State.
I understand the Seminoles are inserting a new quarterback this week.
I hope so. Boy, Luganbill, who's normally a pretty positive guy, he has been so down on Uiagalelei.
Yeah.
So down.
How can you blame him? I mean,
that's true. He's just been awful.
Is this his fourth team, third or fourth team he's played for?
It's his third. He was at Clemson. Everywhere. Then he was at Oregon State. Now he's at Florida State. Dabo pointed out that they love him. He's a Clemson graduate. He led them to, an 11-win season and all that. But Florida State is 1-4. And this was supposed to be a circle game. Clemson is favored by 14.5 in that contest.
Man,
14.5. This is what. Watch out!
Night game. I think that's the ESPN primetime game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, watch out for this one. Let's pull out the old schedule card and let's just start supposing.
Oh, okay. I got it right here.
All right. Auburn plays hard against Georgia.
Okay.
It's a single-digit final. Auburn covers, plays hard. Young players continue to come on. Thorne doesn't turn it over. He threw for 330 last week. He was not bad.
Yep.
Had turnover at the end. At the same time, Missouri is in a dogfight with Texas A&M.
Could happen.
All right.
Okay.
That's a couple of ranked teams.
Yep.
A&M is number 25. Missouri is number 9, but A&M's favored in that game. So that's going to be a dogfight. Then let's say Missouri takes it on the chin there. Missouri's really good. They don't have the look of an undefeated team. They got to lose somewhere. Might as well lose to Texas A&M in College Station. The next week, Missouri has UMass. The University of Massachusetts. That should be a cakewalk. They get kind of fat and sassy, and then they host Auburn. Auburn has a little rest. They're feeling a little bit better about themselves because they had a decent showing against Georgia. The trap is set then, John.
Oh, yeah.
Missouri, a loss to Texas A&M, or a win, but they don't play very well. Then they sleepwalk through UMass. Are they going to be primed for Auburn the next week?
Well, I see you in there.
To be Auburn's first SEC win.
Barry, you're right, because, Missouri riding high, the A&M game this week, as you mentioned, and then you got UMass. What are they going to UMass for?
Are they? I didn't
Come
catch
on.
that part of it. Yeah.
SEC teams don't go to UMass unless you're Mississippi State, and you'll go anywhere to play. But you're right. Little sandwich game there with the Tide on the horizon in Tuscaloosa. And Bama fans, get ready, because I saw the league announce the kickoff times for next week. Your 11 o'clock game staring you in the face. South Carolina, 11 o'clock kick for the Crimson Tide next week. This week, 3:15 in Nashville, playing there in a stadium that is still under construction. It has been for what seems like 5 years now. So if you're going to the game, you're going to have to deal with a little construction there. What is it still called? Dudley Field or what?
Oh,
What is
good
Van,
gracious! It
what
ain't been Dudley Field. What? When's the last time you've been to Vanderbilt Stadium? I remember I was with you a year and a half ago in
Yeah.
Nashville when it was all under construction.
You know, Barry,
Dudley Field.
I've been to a lot of games in Nashville, but it's been a long time.
Which do you like better, going to Dudley Field or going to Denny Stadium?
Yeah,
Or Cliff Hare Stadium. Goodness gracious!
I've
John.
probably been to that field about 4 or 5 times, but I hadn't been in about 25 years. So it's been a while. What's the name of it now? Do they have a name?
Oh, they've got some sort of corporate name.
They probably do. But so, yeah, South Carolina, 11 o'clock. Guess who won't be there? Get ready, Bama fan, because your time is coming. Hey, Barry, let's tell everybody what's going on at Victoryland today. Of course, it's a new month. October is here. How about ladies? In our age bracket, Barry, women ages 55 and over, $7 free play begins at 10:30 this morning. From 10:30 to 5:30, $7 free play at Victoryland for ladies over 55. And tonight, for you ladies over 55, there will be 2 lucky winners for $250 in free play. That's the daily promotion out at Victoryland. Go check it out. You can be a winner too. I-85 exit 22 in Shorter, Alabama.
Think about that. The ladies in their 50s, extra 250. You and I have been there before, and we've seen, there is a significant quotient of people in their 50s, ladies in their 50s, and they are having a fabulous time.
Oh, you better believe it. And I know what you guys are saying. What about something for the fellas? Hold on. I think tomorrow you'll be happy with the promotion that I let you know about tomorrow out at Victoryland. But it's for the ladies today. And they have daily promotions at Victoryland. Every day there's something new, some new promotion, free play. We're going to be telling you about it each and every day here on the program. All right, moving right along, our City of Montgomery guest hotline features our friend Travis Reier, Talking Tide. Reier on YouTube. Travis, good morning, my friend. Hope you're doing well.
Doing great. How are you guys?
We're doing really well. Today, I hope it's a jag-free program. The only 0-4 team in the NFL. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to ask you this: is it time for Mac Jones to play?
I talked about this on No Sleep Till, our Jaguar show on Reier on YouTube yesterday. Would the Jags be 0-4 with Mac Jones behind center? It couldn't be any worse, I don't think. Look, I don't think you can put it all on the quarterback position, but this is a guy that you extended and bumped significantly here in the offseason with the expectation that he was going to be the kind of guy that in some of these close games would help get you over the hump. And that has not happened as of yet. The loss at Buffalo, they just got blown out. Man, I was there. It was rough. But, 3 of these losses been fourth quarter games. Can you get over the hump? And right now, they as a team just can't do it.
All right, I'm lured in. Thank you, John.
I got one follow-up question.
Okay.
I got one follow-up question to that, Travis. I'm hearing the national media say Trevor Lawrence maybe not as focused in on football as he needs to be, that maybe it's just not his number one thing. If you're an NFL quarterback, you got to eat, sleep, and do everything revolving around being an NFL quarterback. Are you buying that?
I don't know if I'm buying that. I think some of that comes from his demeanor and what you see from him at the lectern or podium and press conference settings. He's a really kind of laid back guy. I don't think he's not a big time competitor. I think there are times where, you wonder if this guy needs to go get the Jags a yard, will and can he go get it? Like the 4th and goal play inside the 2 on Sunday in Houston. You call quarterback draw. It's not blocked exactly the way it needed to be, but guys like Josh Allen, guys like Lamar Jackson, there's these quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, they're going to figure out a way to get in the end zone in that situation. And you don't see that probably as much as you would like to see from Trevor. I think Trevor's a good quarterback. Again, do I think Trevor's the guy that can, regardless of your personnel, just kind of seamlessly take you from season to season as a playoff team and a championship contender? I haven't seen that yet. So I think it's getting to the point where you're probably going to have to take more of the approach of, we're going to have to build around this guy and try to help him too, because he's not a top 5, top 8 type of quarterback, or at least we haven't seen that yet.
All right, got to ask you about this. Were you surprised at the tone, the massive ebbs and flows of the Alabama-Georgia game? I'm not surprised at the result, but boy, I sure am surprised at the way Alabama got off to the big lead, lost the big lead, and won it at the end. What about you?
Yeah, there were multiple surprises in that game because no one had Alabama running out to a 28-0 lead. No one had it even 33-15 there in the second half. Alabama still had an 18-point lead after kicking the field goal there in the third quarter. But and kind of likewise, Georgia doing what it did in the second half. I guess if there's a bigger surprise of the two, it's probably Alabama's offense doing to Georgia's defense what it did from the outset of the game. I mean, we went into this season and really even into the game Saturday night understanding Alabama's still very young, inexperienced at some key spots when you're going against a quarterback like Carson Beck. So definitely took some lumps there in the second half, but I don't think anyone's surprised about Ryan Williams anymore, are they?
Ooh.
I mean, that's just the difference in the game. I said this on our channel so far this week too. It felt like 3 games in one. It felt like a best of 3 series in one game because it was Alabama, it was Georgia, and then at the gun, it was Alabama again.
You know, you talk about the youth on this team, Travis. Obviously, you know, you thinking Jalen Milroe, there'll have to be another quarterback in that spot next year. But everywhere else on that team, well, not everywhere, but a lot of places on that team, a lot of positions, there's a lot of youth on the field, a lot of youth in that second rotation.
There is, you know, and you think about what Ryan Williams is doing. Jalen Hale's out for the season. People forget about what Jalen Hale could have been in this offense at the wide receiver spot. And in some ways that helped pave the way. I think Ryan was getting on the field regardless whether Jalen Hale was healthy or not. But that's another guy, you know, that this offense could have in its repertoire. So yeah, I think that's kind of been overlooked in all this. It feels more like the narrative's been Georgia lost, but the prospects big picture wise are very bright for Georgia. I agree with that. I think Georgia got what it needed, especially offensively, out of that second half to feel like going forward, they can fulfill their potential. But does anybody think Alabama's the best it's going to be right now, especially on the defensive side? You know, this is Alabama team with a lot of ceiling left too, and they happen to win the game Saturday night.
Talk a little bit, if you will, characterize the development of Jalen Milroe. Especially, I thought he took a big step forward on Saturday.
You know, I talked about this earlier with someone. It almost feels kind of like when Jalen Hurts left Alabama to go unite with Lincoln Riley, except the Lincoln Riley kind of coach came to Tuscaloosa to unite with Jalen Milroe. The quarterback didn't have to leave this time to go get with that kind of guy. That guy came to Tuscaloosa, and understanding Nick Saban is the greatest of all time. You know, there's no reason to think Jalen wouldn't have taken some of these same strides if Nick and his staff were still in Tuscaloosa, but it's undeniable. And even just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the command and the confidence with Jalen Milroe, I don't really look at the physical attributes. He's put those on display, whether it's throwing the football, whether it's running with the football, but command of this offense, understanding, okay, if they bring 6, I immediately go here. You know, it's been something to watch, no doubt. And he's been a real beneficiary, I think, of the change.
Travis, and I'm with you there as well. I was pretty critical of Milroe at times last year, even after the game in Pasadena, went through all spring and summer saying, I need to see more. I want more development, want an expanded playbook. And I got to tell you, through 4 games, I've been pleasantly surprised. I see the growth. I see the improvement. I see the confidence. To me, it's a different quarterback through 4 games than what we saw last year.
Yeah, just decisiveness to me is what stands out. A high level of certainty in just about everything he's doing right now, not hesitating if coverage or pass rush dictates go get it with my legs right now. Go, he does that. And it's been a masterful job, in my opinion, by Nick Sheridan. Kalen obviously involved in that, but there's other things to this too. Caden Proctor coming back at that left tackle position, I think, has provided them with some additional avenues that they can explore offensively that they probably couldn't before. And they're getting it from so many different positions. I think he completed just in the first half last Saturday. I think Jalen had completions to like 11 different receivers. I mean, so tight ends, backs, you got to defend everybody and everything that they throw at you.
And the pass to Jam Miller for the touchdown, I mean, you're talking about threading the needle.
It was similar to the one he hit Jam on in the SEC championship game last season. But again, that's just knowing the opponent, doing your homework, having it in and not hesitating to go to it. I mean, they liked what they had in that matchup with Jam motioning out to the field, and they get him on a linebacker one-on-one. CJ Allen actually had pretty good coverage.
That's why the throw had to be where it had to be.
Throw was just too good, and I give Jam Miller credit on that too, because he's still a running back. I mean, there's a lot of running backs that you'll see on plays like that not finish that play as a receiver, but Jam did it nicely.
And since you bring that up, I've mentioned this before. You'll bring up things that are easy to follow up on because it sparks my thought process. Becoming a well-rounded back, making that catch. I was really impressed. People talk about Jeremy Bernard and the end around late in the ball game. That was a terrific block by Justice Haynes on that one as well. There's more to just taking the rock and running with it. I think they've been coached up really, really well, Travis.
They are, and there's obviously a standard of what you have to do off the ball in the offense, because you'll even see Ryan Williams. I'm not saying he's Kendrick Law as a blocker as of this point, but he's willing, he's engaging in it. And I think in some of the previous seasons, there had been a little bit of a drop off in that regard. And, I think not having Kendrick Law, by the way, in the second half impacted the offense because he's so important to what they do off the ball. They got stuffed on a 4th and 1. Jam did. And I'm pretty sure in that situation, they had to use Jeremy Bernard in a role that they would have used Kendrick. And Jeremy did his best, but he's going against a linebacker. He gets blown up, and the play gets stuffed. But that's where you miss a Kendrick Law too, when you can kind of utilize him in ways that are almost like an H-back because he's so physical and he plays with great functional strength.
Travis, what did you see at halftime in the second half? What was it that Georgia was doing and maybe Alabama wasn't doing for that game to kind of flip-flop as it did?
I think Georgia just kind of played really base defense. I don't think they tried to be as aggressive. I think they thought once Jalen started hitting some runs there early, okay, we're just going to start bringing guys. And then the answer for that was like CJ Dupree and kind of beating the blitz, which I don't think Georgia anticipated that. I think Georgia just kind of trusted their talent in the second half and said, we're not going to get too crazy with things. We're going to try to keep him in front of us first and foremost. And then offensively, I think they finally figured out, look, we're getting man coverage a lot out here against a true freshman corner. Let's go work that a lot. And they did. And Xavier Brown, I know Kane talked about it yesterday, targeted like 20 times in the game or something. And he took his lumps, but ultimately at the end of the game when they needed it, he was able to do it. And Georgia too, give Mike Bobo some credit because they had done some homework on Alabama. They had seen Keon Sabb kind of sniffing on those crossing routes and being aggressive and hit him with a double move with Dylan Bell. Did some nice things conceptually in the red zone too. And I think a big play in the game was in the third quarter when Alabama was up 30-7 and they brought six. Alabama defensively brought six guys in the pass rush. And Beck just hit, I think it was Dom Lovett in the slot. And then he had a one-on-one with Red Morgan, who he made miss. And then it turned into an explosive play. And then right after that, Georgia hit for a touchdown to make it 30-15 game after
Right.
the 2-point, and then it was a football game. And I thought that was key. That got Alabama out of pressuring. You didn't really see Alabama bring much in terms of numbers after that, and it just felt like Georgia was much more the aggressor from that point forward.
Do you think that Emmanuel, and this could go anywhere, do you think Emmanuel Henderson is evolving? Do you think he's growing into a bigger role? He had the 34-yard catch. I'd like to see him, get even more touches, but I know that's going to be difficult. Do you like him?
I do like him. I think they like him. I think they like that, he can do it on the ball and he can do it off the ball. He's another guy that off the ball as a blocker does a really nice job. He's a good special teams player too. And you see him early in games. That 34-yarder, that was early. So, I think from a rotation perspective, you're seeing some things kind of narrow down a little bit. We haven't seen as much lately of Caleb Odom, right? The true freshman wide receiver that kind of is a hybrid tight end wide receiver type. But E-Man has sort of maintained and even elevated his place. And now with Kendrick Law a little bit uncertain after his injury, that's another guy that could benefit from that. But I thought it was good to see him make that adjustment on that ball, because came to Alabama really as more of just an athlete type, not a wide receiver. So that was a sort of polished wide receiver play that you want to see from a guy that's got the ability to be really good there.
Travis, the fans certainly have reacted well to it. I'm sure the players have as well. What we've seen of Kalen DeBoer has been even-keeled, even-mannered, soft-spoken, if you will. But there was a point in that game where the officials missed a bad call, because the second I saw it, I went, whoa, where's the flag? Didn't throw it. And DeBoer went ballistic up and down the sidelines. I think the fans really were comforted in seeing a guy show some emotion.
No doubt. And, when a play happens like that, especially on your sideline and you don't get the call, that's the reaction that you probably need to have. And, look, I think on the outside, they were pretty much letting them play Saturday night. Xavier Brown was in coverage a couple of times where it was 50-50. They called a few too, but that was pretty clearly, I think, defensive pass interference. And, it was kind of an end of the half situation where it's easy to think, Alabama's still up big, but it could have been bigger, right? It felt like Alabama actually was a little bit wasteful, maybe in its approach. And then also, had a chance after the safety, had a nice return from Cole Adams out near midfield, but then you had a block in the back that backed them up. You had the pass interference call that wasn't made. There was an opportunity for Alabama to be up 30 or more maybe at the half instead of what they were.
Big win for the Tide, huge atmosphere, tremendous opponent. Now they go to Vanderbilt. What would you like to see out of Alabama in this game coming up?
It's about your maturity, I think. I'm a big Diego Pavia fan, though, the Vanderbilt quarterback. So I'm excited to see that guy on Saturday against this Alabama defense. Because I'll tell you this, he doesn't back up from anything or anybody. So he's going to relish the opportunity. And again, there's enough stuff on tape for Vanderbilt offensively to feel like, we can exploit some of these things. Obviously don't have the personnel to the extent that Georgia does. But as much as anything for Alabama, I think it's about maturity. How do you handle the win? How do you handle being elevated to the number one spot in the poll? I'm sure that's what Kalen's looking for from his team, not only Saturday, but throughout this week, because as we know, so much of the talk is going to continue to be about last Saturday night and really not much about this Saturday. So should be like a home game atmosphere in Nashville for Alabama. It typically is for any team that goes there. but I think as intangibly, kind of what is this team made of is what we'll find some things out about.
So I've been trying to think, Travis, since Saturday night. You got Hank Williams Jr., Kid Rock, John Daly, Herschel Walker. Was there anybody else that they could have invited into the box with Trump? Because that sure was a cast of characters.
Oh man, I'm struggling to come up with anybody else, but yeah, it's that time of the year, and it's one of those years. So there you go.
That was I wasn't expecting that. When I saw that group up there, I'm thinking, whoa, wow.
Nothing surprises me anymore, Longshore, when it comes to pop culture or society in general. I just refuse. I'm, great.
I hear you. All right, Travis, how do our viewers, how do our listeners stay in touch with you and follow you everywhere you are? Because, man, you got a lot of stuff going.
Yeah, just check us out at Ryder on YouTube. That's our YouTube channel. We've got Second Helping, our SEC show that we aired last night live. It's archived at the channel right now. Alabama stuff, Talking Tide with Chase Goodbread and myself from Sunday night is there at the channel. Second Watch, where we go through the game and kind of give you our thoughts on what happened in Alabama, Georgia, is up on the channel as well. And of course, right there on Twitter, X, whatever your preference is these days, you can find me at Travis Reier, TravisReier.
A lot of people are already asking for a link to where they can buy that Second Helping hat. That's another big one out there. Maybe that'll be out.
We got to get the merch up and running. There's no doubt about that. Yeah,
you make it look good. Appreciate you, Travis.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, buddy. Thank you, Travis Reier, joining us each and every week. We really appreciate that on our City of Montgomery guest hotline. Some great stuff there. And he's right. Just got to go take care of business up in Nashville. Could you see a little letdown? Could you see a little flat? Yeah, I could see that. Coming off a big game, you go to Nashville, afternoon game, stadium's under construction. It will be like a home game. I agree with him there.
If I know that there was a lot at stake in the run up to the Georgia game, John, but if I'm DeBoer, I'm grinding on them maybe even harder this week, for exactly what you're talking about.
Sure.
I know, that stakes were high last week, but man, if they're fat and sassy coming in, we got a big win. It's only Vanderbilt. This is when DeBoer and that staff, they really put the pressure on them a little bit more. I think anyway, that's the proper approach.
I think so too. All right, what do you say we take a quick break? When we come back, Barry, I saw a piece yesterday that I thought, now this is something that I can really sink my teeth into. It was an article about, future college football scheduling.
That is, again, for all you newbies out there are very few things that John gets into as much as future schedules. We'll get out the steak sauce and we'll dig in when Longshore and McKnight continues, presented by Bud Light.
Shopping for a budget-friendly, reliable used car or a stunning new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram in Prattville is a process that should always start with your team of professionals on your side. Thanks to years of experience helping others in the local community enjoy premium service, low prices, and access to a wealth of amazing new and used cars, it is safe to say that Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is the name to beat in Prattville. But don't just take my word for it. Experience the Stivers difference for yourself. Prices that will not be beat, a huge inventory, and knowledgeable, helpful sales associates. See why so many happy car and truck buyers shop at Stivers CDJR, where Price sells cars and trucks. Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard. Until the other team scores. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2024 Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with our clinic and take advantage of our physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solutions service. Experience elevated physical therapy today. Call Phoenix Physical Therapy at 239-9316. That's 239-9316.
Okay, we got some great input here on our chat line. You can check it out right now. Man, the comments are coming in. We really appreciate that. Brought to you by our good friends at River Region Straw and also our Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry email inbox, Longshore and McKnight at gmail.com.
I love how active the our viewership is. They'll let us know that the Travis segment is long, that our foreheads are big. Haven't you talked about Pete Rose yet? And I mean, they'll give us constructive criticism. We always
sure.
take it this way,
Love
whether it's on our chat line or whether it's in our Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry email inbox. John likes to use the email inbox as kind of a landing point for a lot. He'll have something in there that he'll be surfing the net for. Do you still call it surfing the net? And I'll say, ooh,
yeah,
I got to hang on to this. I want to refer to this. He won't write it down. He'll just send it to our email inbox like this from ESPN senior writer Heather Dinich. Now, I'll read it, a lot of it, the salient points, John.
Please.
But I've got an idea here, first of all.
All right.
John is in Montgomery. I'm in Troy. Our producer, Gurn Jr., is in Nashville.
Yes.
Maybe we could spring for Jim Massey to get like a tuxedo sent up for Gurn Jr., maybe a white towel or something, and have him pose, because he's up in Nashville, have him pose as like room service.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Or concierge or something like that, because next week in Nashville, they are going to have an in-person meeting of the College Football Playoff Board of Directors, right?
Yep, correct.
I don't know the hotel, Gurn. If we get the name of the hotel, and Jim Massey will take care of us. They always take care of everybody.
You better believe it.
We need you to kind of get in there, because according to Heather Dinich, there's going to be a discussion, in-person meeting in Nashville, Tennessee next week with the College Football Playoff Board of Directors, in which the Big Ten athletic directors and the Southeastern Conference athletic directors will discuss a possible partnership in football scheduling. John, he would not be as obsessed with the Cheryl Teague's Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue when he was a kid as he would be obsessed about this very subject. This meeting is a continuation of the Big Ten SEC Joint Advisory Group, which was formed in February. That is a thing. The Big Ten SEC Joint Advisory Group. I learned it was a thing. John and I weren't working together in February, but I saw that and I thought, please let them invite him. Please give him an invite to be an ad hoc member or a consultant or something. It includes the two leagues' university presidents, chancellors, athletics director, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti, and they're meeting next week to see, again, according to one Big Ten source, whether they can move the needle and make some progress on different things.
So you want me to translate this for you? You want me to read between the lines for you? Okay.
One more thing here, because this gets John Goose Pimply too. The future scheduling partnership, should they so choose, SEC Big Ten, the future scheduling partnership could hinge on whether the SEC eventually decides to go to 9 conference games.
Great point.
A topic one SEC source says hasn't been has not been a focus of conversation lately.
Who made that statement, Barry?
One SEC source.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have the nose growing sound effect? Penny whistle, I think they call it. That is a flat out lie. So that tells me they are seriously talking about it. They're in deep discussions about the 9-game conference schedule for a couple of reasons. If they want to have this scheduling agreement with the Big Ten, the Big Ten's going to say, hey, you got to play the same number of conference games that we do. Now, granted, I do think the Big Ten is weaker top to bottom than the SEC is, but so be it. Number two, and probably should be number one, more importantly, the networks that are paying millions and millions and millions of dollars to broadcast these games, they don't want Mercer and ULM and Alabama A&M on the schedule. That's not what they want to broadcast. They want big-time matchups each and every week. Yeah, they'll take Mississippi State and Vanderbilt just like they're going to take Purdue and Northwestern. I mean, it's all part of it. But don't give me these crappy non-conference games. Don't want them, not paying for them. So the networks getting the 9 games, consider it done. You heard it here first. The 9-game conference schedule, consider it done. You got to have quality products here.
No.
But this, to me, Barry, is the line, and I hope I can do my hoity-toity voice justice here. And I don't know who this source from the SEC was in a quote in this article, but the quote goes a little like this. I'm for anything that gives us maximum number of postseason opportunities, one SEC source said. I don't count bowl games as postseason opportunities.
I mean, really? The Birmingham Bowl?
I mean, when I read that, I went, bravo. Exactly. We don't want some crappy, worthless, meaningless bowl game.
I'm going to put you on the spot. You were that SEC source, weren't you? I mean, if somebody is saying, I don't count bowl games as postseason opportunities, or one SEC source says that they are looking to limit the role. I think anything we can do to take the subjectivity of a committee off the table is really helpful. We may not be able to completely get rid of subjectivity. The more we can minimize it. So what they're talking about is they want guaranteed 4 spots for the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
4 spots for the Big Ten in the 12-team playoff. Now, Heather Dinich writes this. While the future college football playoff format is a long way from being determined, again, we know what the format is this year, of course, and we know what the format is next year. But after next year, it's all up for grabs, Sean.
Well, I think that's important, Barry. We've talked a little bit about this and what I've heard and read about it, just still speculation. But if they go to 4, you wonder why aren't they going to 16? And from what I understand, it's the conference championship weekend that's kind of the fly in the ointment with that, because it's scheduling, it makes it more difficult. So there's thoughts about starting the season on week 0. Basically, that will be week 1 in late August.
Yeah, right.
Everybody starts in late August to give you enough time. And I get it. I saw the schedule yesterday. The national championship game this season will be played on January the 20th. Now, I ain't complaining, but it makes for a long season. I get it. You're well into the second semester. Well, not well into it, but you're into the second semester on an academic standpoint.
Yeah,
but
John used to never be into the second semester until late February.
Barry, I'm not real sure I knew when the first went to the second semester. Actually, it just did it. Are we in the second semester? I didn't know that.
All right,
but I don't have a problem starting early. But if they go to 16, I'm hearing, they've thrown out this little carrot. Oh yeah, we're going to let you get in our little playoff, Liberty and whomever else has made it. But I'm getting the sense they want to eliminate that. They just want big boys in this conference. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to do it, but I'm hearing and reading some stuff about the expanded playoff is not going to include a group of 5 team.
Well, here's what I immediately thought of. I thought of that when I read this. And this is, again, Heather Dinich, ESPN, quote, while the future college football playoff format is a long way from being determined, guaranteed bids for 8 of the 14 playoff spots to the SEC and Big Ten would receive significant pushback from others and already has. See, that's the thing. Hang on. I knew John would shed the reading glasses there. Here's the thing. Doesn't the Big 12 vote? I mean, you're looking at 5 spots for everybody else in the Power 4 and 8 spots for the Big 10 and the SEC. They ain't going to vote for that. The ACC and the Big 12, you guys get nothing and like it. The ACC and the Big 10, they're going to get the vast majority of them just simply because they are who they are.
Sure, if these people were smart, they'd bite their lip and go, well, okay. But they're going to play a tough boy game. Okay. Do you want the Big 10 and the SEC to break away and do their own thing? Because that's what you're telling them to do. If you don't let us have it our way, which is, might be a little selfish, but if you're not going to let us do it our way, we'll just split off and go do our own thing. We'll take our 40 schools and we'll invite Notre Dame and probably handpick a couple of others that want to jump on with us, and y'all go do what you want to. I mean, I don't think that's what amateur athletics should be all about, but I do kind of you can see it. The Big Ten and the SEC want to run the show. They want 4 guaranteed spots. And Barry, if this thing goes to 16, you think they're going to want more than 4 apiece?
No, I thought they would go to 16 only because they wanted 4 apiece. That's the only way it really would work, is push it to 16 because they want 4. But couldn't you just see that board meeting, Gurn Jr. in the background, fronting like he's a waiter or something, and he's got
an earpiece in his ear.
Yeah, and one of our little square microphones clipped to his lapel or something like that. And all of a sudden, here's this commissioner of the Big 12. His name is Brett Yormark. We're not going to do it. We're not going to have it. I think it's unconscionable that you guys would even suggest having 4 guaranteed spots for your conference and 4 guaranteed spots for your conference. What about us? And then all of a sudden, hello? Yeah, I'm in for ESPN. Yeah, ESPN. Oh, hello, sir.
Barry.
Okay, thank you very much. We're in for 8. Give them what they want. Everything's fine. I'm in.
If that happened, that's when you'd probably see Big Ten Commissioner Tony Panini lean over to SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, similar to Dean Wormer, and say, haven't we heard enough?
No, what I'm thinking more than that is, I wish I could think of who it was. It might have been Goldfinger up in that blimp or whatever.
No, that was The View to a Kill.
No,
that was Max Zorin.
No, not that. I guess that was the right one. It wasn't in a blimp, but I remember whenever he had the big round table of everybody and Smurfs or whatever, and he says, it was all those investors, and he said, "Are you interested?" No, I don't think I am. And then he pushed a button, and the guy slid out and out of the plane or whatever, and everything.
Correct.
Anybody else? That's kind of the vibe I would get from this meeting with the SEC and the Big Ten holding the cards that they hold.
Yeah. You don't like it? Well, go play somewhere else. But one thing to the root of the article, I think, so to me, if they go 9, because the Big Ten wants 9 conference games. They want the SEC to go to 9. Are they going to play one Big Ten team every year as well? And vice versa?
That's what I get out of it. Yeah, that's what I get out of it. The Big Ten plays 9. They've got 9 and 3 non-conference games. Most everybody in the Big Ten gets those 3 non-conference games out of the way, their first 3 in September.
So get
rid of one of those, and the one you get rid of is the first one. Open the year with an SEC Big Ten game for everybody.
Well, okay. All right, so let me throw this at you. And I like it. So that gives you 2 alphabet soup games to play. Directional school, if you got to do it, okay. I mean, I don't like it, but I'll give it to you. And really, who else, if you're an SEC team, is there anybody else you'd really rather play in a big-time non-conference game? Do you really want to play some ACC team or Big 12 team? No. You want to play a Big 10 team. So what does that do to Notre Dame? Because Notre Dame likes playing a little game, intermingling with the SEC and the Big 10. But if the Big 10 and the SEC have an agreement, are they going to shut out Notre Dame for future non-conference games? Does that maybe push Notre Dame to join a conference?
I think it does, yeah. If I don't think they can afford not to anymore. I think that has hurt them a good bit lately financially. Now, bear in mind this, especially you Bama fans who are jumping all in on this. Oh, boy, John, I think you're dead on. I'd love to have it. SEC, Big 10, we're all big boys. Let's all squeeze the competition and do what we want. How would you feel if all of a sudden Alabama, first game of the SEC Big 10 partnership, you are listening live from Piscataway, New Jersey, where the Alabama Crimson Tide visits the Rutgers Scarlet Knights.
So I think you do that.
Next up for Alabama, a huge matchup at Northwestern. Will the Crimson Tide be able to venture in? It ain't always going to be Michigan. It ain't always going to be Ohio State. It ain't always going to be Penn State.
In the SEC, SEC ACC basketball challenge, have you ever seen Kentucky play Wake or NC State?
Boston College, yeah.
Kentucky's always playing a name school, whether any good or not. That's the same thing's going to happen here. Yeah, Alabama's going to play Ohio State, and Tennessee's going to play Michigan or whatever, and Georgia's going to play Penn State. I mean, yeah, we're good with that. Yeah, not a little rotation. You don't want to play the same team every year. And if you got to sprinkle in Michigan State, I don't know. I'm not sure I like this now that I think about it. There's not enough good teams in the Big Ten to spice.
See, I knew it. That's why, John, when he gets to his big boy conference, that's the first red flag. So we've got a big boy conference. According to John, they ain't but about 4 teams that belong. His big
now
boy
that you got
conference,
Southern
if
Cal,
he had the chance, would be
10.
about 10 at the most.
Oh, but see, then you got the LA. You can go to LA and play. Eugene, Seattle. See, now I'm liking it a little bit more. I think that would be pretty cool. So, I hope they do it. They're meeting next week in Nashville. Gurn, keep an ear out on that. I know you're right there on the ground in the Music City. Can help us out. That would be fantastic. But I saw that yesterday, and I will have to tell you, I did get that little laugh when I read that quote from that SEC official. We ain't talking bowl games.
Again, this bears repeating. Again, one SEC source, Heather Dinich of ESPN, actually has several SEC sources. College football playoff leaders haven't determined yet what the playoff will look like beyond this season and next. Some said they need to know that before making any decisions about future scheduling partnerships. One SEC source says, quote, "I'm for anything that gives us the maximum number of postseason opportunities. I don't count bowl games as postseason opportunities," end quote.
Okay.
That's exactly the thing that just crawls all over me. Bowl games are the definition of postseason opportunities. How is a bowl game not a postseason opportunity?
When we get back from this next break, I've got a solution for that. I'll explain when we get back.
The mind reels. 17 minutes left in our live show here on this Tuesday morning. It's Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Hey, this is Barry McKnight from Longshore and McKnight, telling you about our friends at River Region Straw. You're not buying sticks or stems and pine cones. You're buying premium long needle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River Region, full of color, that'll last all season long. They've got locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small. From a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load, River Region Straw also has seasoned firewood for the cold days and nights ahead. Pickup is available, and your order can be delivered if you like. They can even spread your pine straw if that's what you want to have happen, for sure. Call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw and firewood needs at River Region Straw.
Hi, this is Benji with Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. Guys, this is the time to shop. The holidays will be here before you know it. Our cases are slam full, so take advantage and lay away for Christmas now. We have a full repair shop and design shop, so if you dream it, we can make it for her. And if you need any repairs, we have an in-house master jeweler. At Marguerite's, we make it. We really make it. At Marguerite's, we are open 7 days a week. Come see us at the Preparatory Shopping Center, 8163 Vaughn Road, Montgomery, Alabama, right by Chappie's.
Is there a certain Ford car, truck, or SUV that piques your interest, but you are not quite sure if it fits into your budget? Or perhaps you want to upgrade your current vehicle, but you absolutely refuse to deal with the same old aggressive and pushy song and dance that is found at the average car dealership? Then Stivers Ford is here to show you a better way. Their knowledgeable and courteous sales staff, the largest Ford inventory in Alabama, and of course, price. At Stivers Ford in Montgomery, Price sells cars. 4000 Eastern Boulevard at the Troy Highway, or check out their inventory at stiversfordofmontgomery.com.
Alrighty, welcome back in, everybody. About 15 minutes to the top of the hour here on a Tuesday. Longshore McKnight, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. I understand there was a lot of that product consumed in Tuscaloosa over the weekend with the big game. Mitchell said they were unloading Bud Light all weekend long.
Sure, it was all consumed responsibly, which Bud Light always stresses. Make sure to consume our products responsibly.
Yes,
I'm sure
correct.
that's exactly.
So if we go to this proposal, and it's one source in the SEC said, bowl games. One of the scenarios I saw is if, the SEC and the Big Ten want to do their own thing, then why not have the bowl games really be what the remainder of the schools that aren't included use as their big postseason extravaganza and almost maybe have a national championship of their own?
No, anything that would never be agreed upon. That would never be agreed upon. There is in Division 1A.
When you say agreed upon, if the Big Ten and the SEC split, there's nothing to agree on. I mean, they're going to go do their own thing, whether other conferences like it or not.
Well, then that's so you're talking about the Big Ten or SEC just having their own championship.
Pretty much.
No, I mean, it wouldn't. That's not going to happen. I mean, if there's a split, this is what frustrates me. On Twitter, the prospect of a breakaway by college football's biggest programs has loomed over the sport for years. Now, a group of disruptive sports executives has unveiled a vision for what it might look like. And you click on the link from WSJ.com, and it's behind a paywall. And I'm like,
wait a minute. The Wall Street Journal's not letting you have some free content?
No, but that's what we're talking about here. If you're talking about an SEC Big Ten championship, that's fine.
Yep.
They're not the only entities that are capable of winning a national championship. I
got to go see my
that's
broker.
Not a legitimate national championship.
I got to go see my broker later today, Barry. They usually have a copy of the Wall Street Journal in the lobby.
Yeah.
Should I ask him or should I just take it?
Why not? Why break a precedent? I mean, you do that with your neighbor's newspaper. Why not the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, I might just slip
I'd
it
love
out
to
there.
see what it is. But a championship, if you're talking about a championship with just the SEC and the Big Ten, that's not a legitimate national championship. There's a lot of other really good football teams that are out there.
Yeah.
But there's no way that the other conferences, the Big 12, the ACC, the Sun Belt, the MAC, anybody is going to say, yeah, let's call it the junior varsity national championship or something, just so we can call ourselves national champ. There's no value in that.
Well, I just wonder though, and I don't know how they're going to, name it, describe it, position it, whatever. But if, that we go to this super conference that we've heard thrown around out there,
right?
Big boy conference, whatever you want to call it. I mean, to me, the way I envision it is, we're going to do our own thing. And everybody else is happy to do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So if they do go to this and the networks want these helmet teams playing each and every week, and the majority of their playoff will be filled with teams like that, I'm not sure what the rest of the country is going to do, but maybe use the bowl games and really make it the extravaganza that they want it to be, because I get the sense that a lot of these SEC schools and Big Ten schools are over the bowl scenario. That's not what they're in it for anymore.
Well, I mean, everybody wants to get into the playoff, that's for sure. But how do you flesh out the regular season? Are you playing 12 games with nothing but, 30 teams, 40 teams? That's not what it's all supposed to be about, right? I mean, it's geez.
Well,
that's good. I mean, if you want
that.
the NFL, you got the NFL.
But that's a good point. That's not what it's all about. But nobody thought NIL was what it was all about either, or the transfer portal.
And people are griping about that right now.
Quarterbacks driving around in Ferraris and Maseratis. I mean, there's parts of it that I do kind of like.
Yeah, me too.
There's parts of it I don't like. Unfortunately, we're never going to have college football like we grew up with it in the 70s and 80s and 90s. I think those days are over. And I know a lot of the old school college football fans miss it. They don't like the new format. I'll say this, Barry. I think the level of play on the field today is as high as I've ever seen it.
There is. Yeah, no doubt about it. And it should be, because there's more invested in it. The players are making more money. The talent is being consolidated. There are so many good players all across college football. Yep. And ultimately, a lot of them migrate upward, migrate to the Alabamas and stuff. You got guys, or you're thinking, I'm trying to think of an example recently, who have moved up to a school like Alabama and a school like Georgia that started off, somewhere else. So, there's been a lot of consolidation with talent at or near the top, to the detriment of some of the players, for sure. I do think that, the NIL is not going to go away. And that's the biggest seismic change in this. Bear in mind, 2024, there's more change in this year than any other year in the history of college football. Sure. If you didn't watch, and I don't normally watch College Game Day, but I've watched it a couple of times because Saban is on it, to be honest with you. This past week, he kind of led a discussion among those people about NIL and how it has got to change. He's all for players making money, and I am too.
Yeah.
But man, there's got to be some oversight.
And there's no doubt, Bear. We talked about states that don't have income taxes, that these guys getting these NIL deals aren't paying state tax. That's an advantage in Florida, Texas, elsewhere, other states. There's no doubt. Hey, Barry, I want to know if you're at the top of your game. I got a feeling that you are, and I'm sure you probably noticed that we flipped the calendar. Today is October 1st. So we're bringing our man Benji in from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, 8163 Vaughn Road in Pepper Tree. I think he's Googling it, Benji, what's that birthstone for the month of October?
No Googling. You'll have to have this memorized by now. So the birthstone is opal. So
I should remember that, because October and opal, they begin with the same letter. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we've had a few people come in and ask for chokers, and we called it the Peyton Thorn, but but yes, if you want to surprise your wife with
Woo!
Yeah, that's a good. Hey, I think that's going to be on the replay, Benji. We're gonna snip that and send that out. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty sad game last week, but yes, Opal is the birthstone of October, and yeah. So guys, if you're trying to figure out what to get your wife for that birthday present, come in here and get her a birthstone. We got plenty to choose from necklaces to rings to earrings. So we have a nice selection.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, tell us a bit about the opal itself, because it's worthy of a wonderful gift, whether it's the birthstone or not, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, not every woman likes their birthstone. I mean, we always don't, opal happens to be one that women do like a lot. Sapphire's another one in September.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, people buy all different, stones, but opal, sapphires, of course, diamonds is a girl's best friend, but yeah, and of course we have every one of those in stock, ready to be purchased and wrapped. So come take a look.
Well, you're open 7 days a week. Very convenient for our viewers and our listeners. You're right there in Pepper Tree, adjacent to Chappie's Deli, 8163 Vaughn Road. And as Benji mentioned, opal is the October birthstone. Today being October 1. You need to go by and see all of the great selection of not only opals, but all of the fabulous, beautiful jewelry items there at Marguerite's. What are your hours of operation, Benji?
We're open Monday through Friday from 10 to 5:30, on Saturday from 10 to 5, and Sunday 12 to 5. So come see us. Let the girls take care of you.
Outstanding. Always appreciate a chance to visit with you, Benji. Take care.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, buddy. Great stuff at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry. I got to write that line down, Barry. That was a good one.
Oh, when you're asking for, you should not call the chokers the Peyton Thorns. Come on. If you do, you got to give them a little something for the representation out there.
That was good.
Yeah.
I kick myself when I don't think of those things first. I'm thinking,
no, you can't think of them all, John. I mean, all you can do is expect that you'll be able to put out your fair share. You can't get them all.
I guess.
All
right, so of course tomorrow our Phoenix Physical Therapy medical segment, rehab segment. We're going to get into that tomorrow as well. Always look forward to that. We learn a little bit about injuries out there on the athletic field and the court, wherever they may happen, and then how you rehab those injuries to get back into the game. And our good friends from Phoenix Physical Therapy will be here tomorrow to talk a little bit about that. We did have the mayor scheduled tomorrow, but I do understand he's got press conference or some engagement, so we're working around his schedule. I know a lot of people have asked about that, so we're going to certainly try to do that as well.
Okay.
So we might have somebody else come in his slot as we get ready for some big games coming up this weekend. And as we talked about earlier, the weekend starts early for you on Thursday night.
Yes, it's Troy versus Texas State. Thursday night. It is one of only 2 Thursday games. It's on ESPNU, 6:00 Thursday night. Trojans really need a victory. They're dealing with some injuries right now and a lot of new players and stuff. Texas State comes in as a pretty significant favorite. Also, this from Matt. Matt on our River Region Straw Chat hotline. Call Kenny at 669-5959. He says, Auburn's first road game, and it's against Georgia in Athens. Yikes. Take Georgia and the points. Now,
that's a lot
the
of
points, just in case you're wondering, I know maybe Matt is of the mind. It don't matter. Georgia, 24.5-point favorites.
Now, just to be
transparent,
to be clear here, Matt,
yes.
You're not taking the points. You're laying the points.
Yeah.
There's a big difference here. So you're laying the 24.5.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you know that.
Okay.
You just maybe stated it wrong there, Matt.
Take
that's
Georgia.
that's a lot of lumber to be laying out there.
Yep. All right, Matt.
Danny from Margaritaville says, Benji, this will be choker number 3. They already have 4th and 31 and the disaster in the pasture. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Danny down in Foley listening to us today.
Yeah, just waking up, evidently. So,
yeah, Danny wants the 3rd hour.
Hey, listen, 3rd hour is all for you. It's like the pool and the pond for Carl Spackler. Third hour is great for you. I'm all for the 3rd hour.
Yeah.
John can deal with the third hour.
We
Absolutely.
can have romper room from 9 to 10. How about that?
Yeah,
that'd be
yeah,
awesome.
that
So we're considering it. We're thinking about it. Just hold on. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Danny says, Benji, this will be choker number 3. I already have the 4th and 31 choker of the disaster in the pasture necklaces. Curtis says, I'm sure they look good on you too, Danny. Yeah. Danny.
Those were good. Okay, Braves. What time's the Braves game tonight?
Ooh, Braves game tonight. Oh, headed quickly. It's tonight. I do know that. Yes, 7:30 tonight against San Diego. Best of 3 starts tonight.
7 o'clock there or in here?
7:30 Central Time.
Okay.
I think it's 5:30 San
5
Diego.
o'clock first pitch there in San Diego.
4 games today, beginning at 1:30 this afternoon, going until 7:30 tonight. It's going to be glorious. That's our program. Thanks as always to Brian Matthews, auburnsports.com, Travis Reier from Reier on YouTube. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. Longshore and McKnight, presented by Bud Light.